Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory here with the afternoon streaming show at 2:30. We have a lot going on over the next 7 days. We're on alert today for some localized flooding. Then we're on alert again Wednesday for the possibility of severe storms. And then heads up, this weekend is going to be the hottest weather we've had so far this year. We're talking highs in the 90s, and those heat index values could even reach the triple digits. So let's start by talking about those alert days. Today, we're on alert. We could have downpours that drop as much as 1.5 to 3 inches of rain over one location. This is not going to be a widespread issue, but in those locations where you do get that downpour, we could obviously then be dealing with some localized flooding. Tomorrow, kind of a lull in the action. Then we're back on alert Wednesday evening for the possibility of severe storms. That includes a risk of damaging wind gusts, maybe even some large hail, and an isolated tornado threat. Right now, we do have a flood watch in effect for all of western Kentucky, along with Gallatin County, Illinois, until midnight tonight. There's also a flood advisory for northern Union, northwestern Henderson, and then all of Posey County until 4 o'clock this afternoon. That is for the heavy rain and thunderstorms currently moving into our region where that rain is falling right now. These storms just kind of bubbled up over the Paducah, Cape Girardeau area earlier this afternoon, and then push to the northeast into the tri-state. And we do have quite a bit of heavy rain and some lightning spread across much of Gallatin, Posey, into Vanderburgh, Henderson, and Davis counties, and then across other parts of western Kentucky as well. These showers and storms will continue to push to the northeast as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening. So these scattered heavy rain and lightning will be with us through the rest of this evening, and then we see rain chances even continuing into the first part of tonight. Again, that flood watch goes until midnight tonight. The rain will then start to taper off as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning, but tomorrow still won't be totally dry. It's not a first alert weather day, but there are just isolated chances of a few scattered showers and a few thunderstorms throughout the day on Tuesday, especially Tuesday afternoon. That rain kind of tapers off as the sun sets Tuesday night. Then as we get into Wednesday, that's where the first alert weather day comes back into play. Wednesday morning, mostly cloudy, maybe even a stray shower or thunderstorm. Wednesday afternoon, I think the sun may actually briefly break out. That's not great news though, because that's going to just feed energy into the atmosphere. It's going to get very hot and humid, and then a line of thunderstorms will push in from the northwest Wednesday evening into Wednesday night, and then should taper off before midnight Wednesday night. So let's talk about the risks here. This specifically is the flooding risk. So this is not the severe weather risk. We'll look at that in a minute. Flooding specifically today, we're sitting at a level 2 out of 4 for scattered flash floods. So again, the emphasis for today is really on that flooding risk. Tomorrow, that rain is expected to be a little lighter, more scattered, not as concerned about flooding. Then by Wednesday, we're back into this level 1 risk for isolated flash floods within those thunderstorms that are going to roll through mainly Wednesday evening. Now looking at the severe weather threat, and again, this is different from flooding. The severe storm threat is more like wind, hail, tornadoes. That's what we're looking at here. Notice both today and then even into tomorrow, we're outlooked in this brown color here. That's just general run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. So again, those may have some very heavy rain and a lot of lightning, but they're not bringing anything that would be considered severe storms, wind, hail, or tornadoes, just very heavy rain and lots of lightning. Both today and tomorrow, the risk of severe weather is located to our northwest. Then by Wednesday, that system swings into the tri-state, and that's where our severe storm risk ramps up. So Wednesday, the entire tri-state sitting at a level 2 out of 5 for scattered severe storms. Now, the most likely threat with those storms is that they may be capable of producing damaging wind gusts, but very heavy rain and some large hail also possible, and I wouldn't rule out even an isolated tornado on Wednesday. So all threats are in play on Wednesday. Damaging wind is just the most likely, but any of this could happen as those storms roll through on Wednesday evening. As for our temperatures, we've got big changes on the way. We've actually already hit our high for the day. We were at 85 earlier this afternoon, and now that the rain has moved in, you can see temperatures just dropping very quickly back into the 70s and lower 80s. Those temperatures will continue to drop as we go through the rest of this evening and that scattered rain continues. We'll eventually bottom out in the lower 70s and just kind of hold steady there through the overnight hours. Then tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy. Again, a few scattered thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon with high temperatures in the low to mid 80s again. Wednesday will actually be a little bit warmer. We're talking upper 80s to near 90, but keep in mind all that warm, humid air that's going to feed those thunderstorm chances Wednesday night. Then once those storms roll through, the last of the rain tapers off on Thursday. Notice we do cool off briefly back into the mid 80s on Thursday, but then this surge of warm air really kicks into high gear as we hit the weekend. We're talking mostly sunny skies, maybe a stray thunderstorm popping up in the heat of the day, just those spotty bubble up thunderstorms that we tend to get in the summer months. But check out these temperatures. We're talking about highs in the low to mid 90s this weekend, first 90s of the year, and it's also going to be a little bit muggy. So when you factor in the humidity, those heat index values could even hit the triple digits. So we're going to have some true summer-like heat as we get into the weekend. Taking a quick check-in on the comments. We do have a few folks in here today. Good afternoon, Cheyenne. Craig says raining in Owensboro, but just a little bit of thunder. You may get more thunder and lightning and some heavier rain as we move forward here, so be careful out there. Jeff says it's storming in Sava. Pouring in Parker Settlement, Charlotte says. And Laura, watching from Dawson Springs, always appreciate you. And Ramonda says huge raindrops in Evansville. Yeah, so we do have that rain moving through right now. Again, we may see some pockets of flooding and very heavy rain, so be especially careful if you're going to be out on the roads this afternoon and evening, as there may be some flooded roadways. We already dealt with some of that over the weekend. Some more scattered rain, but not on alert tomorrow. This will be just more general thunderstorms, not seeing as much of a heavy rain or severe weather threat. Then back on alert Wednesday for that possibility of severe storms Wednesday evening. Rain tapers off as we get into Thursday, then hot and mostly sunny heading into the weekends. I think that about wraps it up. I'm not seeing any more questions. Oh, we do have one person asking about Wednesday and some specific locations. The threat right now is the same for the entire tri-state. Just so you know, we're all sitting at a level 2. So the threat level is the same no matter where in the tri-state you are on Wednesday. Everyone's at that level 2 out of 5 for scattered severe storms. And obviously we'll still be bringing you updates on that through the rest of tonight, tomorrow, and during the day Wednesday as we're tracking those storms moving in. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to let Jamie French and Robinson Miles get in here and bring you some of the latest news headlines, though. So don't go anywhere. They will be right back with your latest news headlines.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for your afternoon news and weather streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. You know, it is fitting news and weather show because there's a lot of overlap today. Of course, as Arden just went through with us, of course, we are still keeping an eye on all the rain going on. but also keeping an eye on this past Friday when we had all that flash flooding in Evansville, and that actually is our first headline today. So as we're continuing to follow the effects of that, according to the National Weather Service, around 4 inches of rain fell in Evansville. Now, Kate Kirby, Marcus, and Woodgate at that time were actually trapped.
Yeah, that's right. So our Liz DeSantis is also taking a look at the damage at the Next Step Dance Studio. Right now they're closed. They had a lot of flood damage inside. They're cleaning up. They've got a lot of volunteers out there with mops and buckets, and they posted some pictures on Facebook. You can see just a muddy mess inside of their dance studio. So that's something else we're following today. Meanwhile, Burdett Park employees say the heavy rain on Friday flooded the ditches near their family pool, and then that caused the mud and rocks to pour into their pool. So they're cleaning up. They hope to reopen tomorrow. You know, they said this is actually the 5th time in history of being a pool that they've ever had to close for something like this. So unexpected, and I know they've got a lot of work ahead of them to get through.
You know, we're separated by this past weekend. Of course, it was Friday, a few days since, and as we've gone through, still a lot of impact out there. Of course, there were tons of cars that were stuck, damaged. Towing companies have been very busy pulling them off the streets. Of course, on Friday, we covered some of those water rescues that were going on. So it does make sense that even now, several days later, there's still a lot of impact. I imagine we're going to be learning about the effects of this for some time still.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, more rain today and more rain throughout this week. So we could, be faced with some of the same problems. So we're learning a lot. We learned the turnaround, don't drown. We always remind you guys of that. You don't want to damage your car. And of course, getting away from that as much as possible. So let's switch over to some more positive news, guys. We are going to be looking ahead to a big weekend at Holiday World.
Now, the big news there, of course, the Holiday World season is already going, but Holidays in the Sky is returning. Of course, that is their big nighttime drone and fireworks spectacular. 500 synchronized drones with a DJ, dance party, fireworks. Now, of course, you want to see the whole thing yourself, but we do have some spoilers. They let us in on a little bit of info representing Halloween. There will be a segment with a lightning strike hitting a haunted house for the 4th of July, a rocket-shaped drone formation that erupts with fireworks to simulate a real rocket launch.
My favorite part, Thanksgiving, they're going to have a new parody song, Pour Some Gravy on Me, kind of like, pour some sugar on me. You guys are familiar.
Nice.
And that'll be performed by an Evansville area band, so that's pretty cool. And hey, you can check it all out starting this coming Saturday, June 21st. They are scheduled to fly nightly through Sunday, August 3rd for a total of 44 nights this summer. So you've got plenty of time to make it out and see them. The show begins each night at 8:50 p.m., and that would be included in your park admission. You don't have to buy a separate ticket just to see Holidays in the Skies. So certainly a wonderful event that you can get out, enjoy your summer nights by watching the show. I mean, it's incredible what they can do with all of those drones and fireworks.
Oh, it's impressive. I feel like my wife and I, we went and we saw it, and then it felt like we were evangelizing to all of our family.
Oh my goodness.
You have to come and see it. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like we've kind of hit summer in earnest by the time this happens, since it really comes during those peak hot months. And so, yeah, we finally kind of arrived. It doesn't look like it outside.
No.
But we have arrived at more of the summer standard time of year with that. Plus, I love that they're never impeded by a lack of Thanksgiving songs.
No, never.
They work around it.
Yeah,
they find a way
the
through.
creativity behind making each holiday special in their own way is very cool. And of course, they say all of these shows are weather permitting. So a day like today wouldn't be a good one. They probably would have rescheduled something like that today. So maybe just check with Holiday World before you head out to the park in case you were trying to make it and the weather cancels them. I bet that would get rescheduled.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, as I'm sure you imagine from everything we talked about, there is a lot going on today. We've got all of our reporters out in the field working on it, so a lot is going to get expanded on as we get into our evening shows and then later on tonight at 10.
Yeah, and before we go, I do want to mention something that just came across our news desk email. Something that we're covering this afternoon is the Evansville Police Department is hosting a press conference. They're going to be talking to area stations, including us. They're investigating something internally. That's all we really know right now. We're not sure exactly what this is about, but something else to look ahead to tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10 is what they're discussing today. So all of these stories and that coming up later tonight.
And of course, our Liz DeSantis is going to be the one out there covering that. She's a terrific reporter, so we'll have a much more expansive view on what that is just a little bit later tonight.
All right, that'll do it for us this afternoon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.